A Suitcase Filled with Stars. I was playing with a tiny train in my room early in May when my mother opened the door while I continued to play. "Would you like to go to Grandma's?" she asked that sunny afternoon. "Yes, I would," I replied. "Please, can we go and visit soon? Can I have a sleepover?" I asked. "Only for one night." My mother looked back with my smile so wide and my eyes so bright. "You'll have to decide exactly what toys to take to her place," my mother said as I reached under my bed and pulled out a suitcase. It was a big black suitcase with a big old lock on top. It had wheels on the bottom without any brakes to stop. When I went to Grandma's, she liked to celebrate. And so my grandma always let me stay up very late. I wanted to take all my toys, anything that I could find, but I knew I'd have to decide which to take and which to leave behind. I knew, of course, that not all the toys that I had could go. I wanted to take the toy horse from my toy rodeo. I packed a toy helicopter that never left the ground. I rolled some cars into the suitcase without a sound. I packed planes and trains and one perfect plastic horse. I took my favorite puzzle and my trading cards, of course. I took a blue police car, an action figure that talks. I put in paper and pens and even a few pieces of chalk. When I put in a robot that talked with a string that you pull, I found out that my suitcase was completely full. That was before many things went into that suitcase: baseball, football, soccer balls, a clock with a smiling face. Now, I never thought of my suitcase as being small, but clearly it wasn't as big as I thought after all. So I packed all the toys one by one, by one, by one, and I started from the beginning, just as quickly as I had begun. I put things in, took them out, and put them on the floor until my room looked like the biggest, best toy store. "I don't want to go without taking all my favorite toys," I told my mother, who looked as if to say, "Boys will be boys." "Don't think of it as if you're just leaving some toys behind. Take some toys now and take the others the next time." So I filled the suitcase after much silent debate, and then I quickly zipped it shut because I didn't want to be late. Soon my mother said she noticed the suitcase was closed. "Where," she asked me, "do you plan to put your clothes?" So I emptied the suitcase. I had to decide what to pick. I closed my eyes and I reached in and took a toy out real quick. Then I fit my toys, not all, but quite a lot. I didn't put everything in, but almost everything I've got. So we slowly drove off and stood at Grandma's door, and I dragged my suitcase proudly across the wooden floor. "Grandma, wait till you see all the gifts I brought," I said to my grandma, who looked at what we bought. "Well, well," she said as I emptied the toys so she could see. "You brought a lot of toys with you." "Most certainly." Then we played and played with all the trains and cars, and I told her I had to leave behind many more. And pretty soon evening with its darkness arrived, as the moon and stars took their place outside. We both looked at the empty suitcase that looked so alone after it had been filled with so many of the toys I own. "Come with me," Grandma said, as the evening slowly fell. "We'll fill the suitcase with something that I know quite well." And we wheeled the suitcase out on the wooden porch, and we stood beneath the stars shining like a torch. She said, "Pretend the stars are apples floating all around. Reach up and then pretend that you can pull them down." We reached and pretended that we could just collect stars that hung in the sky like fish caught in a net. She said, "Let's hurry and fill the suitcase with stars. We'll just reach up and soon they'll all be ours." So we reached and we reached to see who could snag the most stars high above and stuff them in the bag. And pretty soon we had a suitcase all filled with stars that had once been filled with toys. and trains and cars. See how much fun you can have with thoughts, not things, my grandmother said. The best toys are always your own imaginings. And I told her that I still liked toys, but she was also right. We had a lot of fun with things made of love and life and light. And so that night, I went to bed in a world so full of noise. And I looked out the window at the stars shining like a million toys.